Hi, my name is Pastor Hal York, and welcome to Truth in the Trenches. The verse we want to consider today is probably one of the most quoted and well-known Proverbs, other than chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Proverbs 15:1 says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." I used to look at this as two different ways to respond to an angry person, but the more I thought about it, it seems to me to describing two different scenarios with two different outcomes. Two different ways of using our words, responding to others. The first scenario seems to suggest a person who comes to you, and we've all had this happen, is very upset. They're fired up. It doesn't say why, because it doesn't really matter why, but they're just filled with rage. And the tendency in those situations is to respond in like. If they're mad at you, we fight fire with fire. But it says here that instead of doing that, it says a soft answer. In a very heated situation, a soft answer, a thoughtful, tender, delicate, calm, controlled, considerate, agreeable answer turns away or turns back wrath. Turns back or turns away this rage. It's something that was ready to explode and has been diffused. It's sort of like pouring water on a fire. It's been quenched. And that's what a soft answer, that's the power of choosing the right words in a very heated situation. Now, this is not promising every time this is going to happen, but generally speaking, that a soft answer will turn away or turn back wrath. It doesn't escalate the situation, it calms it down. But the other scenario is almost, in some ways, I think the opposite. In this situation, things are quite calm. They're going well. But someone speaks harshly. It doesn't say why, because it doesn't matter. But a harsh word, a thoughtless word, an insensitive, cruel remark, or careless, hurtful, rude. And we've all been around that. We've all been probably guilty of that. And we know what it feels like to be on both sides of the situation. But a harsh word stirs up. It agitates. It stirs up something that really wasn't there. But it all of a sudden has been ignited by this what? By this harsh word. And the result is anger. A harsh word stirs up anger. And I think here he's reminding us of the power of our words. Not to create anything, but simply the power of our words, how they impact our circumstances around us with people. The importance of choosing the words, the right words. Wise words, calm words can turn away wrath. Quench the fire. On the other hand, harsh, foolish words stir up anger and start the fire. An illustration of this in the Old Testament is in 1 Samuel 25, where we have Abigail and Nabal. Abigail was a very godly woman, married to Nabal, whose name means fool, and he literally was a fool. And men were out shearing sheep at one point, and David's men, 400 men, were running away from Saul. But in their travels, they intersected with Nabal, and at one point even helped Nabal's men who were shearing their sheep, provided food for them and protected them from marauders and so on. And later on, they intersected again, and David's men needed some food and provisions, so they asked Nabal if he could basically return the favor. And Nabal basically just responded very arrogantly, "Who's David? I don't know David. Who is this man? We don't know who he is. I'm not doing nothing." He was just a fool. His words were thoughtless and insensitive and cruel and careless. And David, when he heard this, his servants came back and told him this. He was just outraged to the point where he gathered his men together, and 200 of them, armed to the teeth, headed off on horseback, I'm sure just as fast as they could go, to destroy Nabal and every one of his servants. Nabal had, in fact, through his words, stirred up something that wasn't there. There was peace between these two groups of people, until Nabal opened his mouth and started this anger in David that would result in Nabal's death and the death of all the servants. But Abigail hears about this. She gets provisions together and heads out to intersect David before he gets to the farm. And she meets David. And here's this man enraged, bent on murder and bloodshed. And this woman meets him. And she answers him tenderly and compassionately, considerately, thoughtfully. And David's anger is averted. She calms him down by her wise, thoughtful words. Nabal stirred them up by his harsh words, something that wasn't there. But Abigail meets this man bent on murder, something that is there in his heart, and her soft answer turns away his wrath. Is it any wonder that Proverbs has so much to say about the tongue? David says, put a guard over my mouth, which is in essence to say, guard my heart. Remember, a soft answer turns away, turns back wrath. But a harsh word stirs up anger. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, my Lord and my Redeemer. David prayed that. May we pray that. And today I hope that this truth will guard you and guide you in the trenches of life so that we may approve what is excellent. And so be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ to the glory and praise of God. And there's no more important place where that needs to be happening than in our words. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So may we speak considerately, calmly, thoughtfully, compassionately. And may those words have an impact for the good of others and for the glory of Christ.